Welcome friends. In this episode, let us see the concept of debt restructuring. We all know that because of industrial revolution, because of mechanization, because of globalization, because of a very intense competition in the market, it has become necessary for the manufacturers or any type of businessman to work on a large scale. Therefore, the investment, the capital investment in the business has gone up like anything. Secondly, to take the advantage of financial leverage also, people need borrowings. So the borrowing by the businessman is necessitated because of large scale investment on one hand and the requirement of, I may say, financial leverage on the other hand. This is on one side. On the other side, because of the development of financial sector, there are lots of lenders now in the economy. There is ample liquidity in the economy. That is also the reason why the number of lenders has gone up. So there is demand of borrowed funds and there are suppliers of this type of funds. Hence, there is lot of lending activity going on in all the economies of the world. But once the finance is taken on loans, it is to be repaid. Many times, because of the competition in the market or because of recession in the market, the borrower is not able to earn sufficient amount of profit. Similarly, he may not be having good liquid position to repay his loan, to pay the installments of his borrowings. In that case, he becomes a defaulter. The lender in such cases has one simple option, and that simple option is to take the possession of the mortgaged property, dispose it off and get its loan repaid. However, if the lender resorts to this type of taking the possession and selling it in the market, then naturally the business of the borrower is shut down. This is not good for the economy also. And probably many times the asset which is given as mortgage may not fetch sufficient amount and which is sufficient to get the loan repaid. Hence, normally the lenders do not resort to this. This becomes the last resort. Then what is the alternative with the lender? In this case, the lender and the borrower, they come together, they negotiate, they discuss and decide to have some sort of rescheduling of the loan. This is in short what is called as debt restructuring. The existing debt is restructured. The existing debt is continued with new or I may say renewed terms and conditions. Maybe with respect to amount of loan, maybe with respect to the mortgage of property, maybe with respect to rate of interest, maybe with respect to the amount of installment and so on. If both of them agree to this, then again a new sort of agreement is entered into between them and the debt is said to be restructured. There is a difference between restructuring of the debt and refinancing. In refinance, the earlier loan is closed down and the new loan is disbursed. Whereas in restructuring, the same loan is continued on revised terms. This can be done voluntarily by the two, that is borrower and the lender, or this can be done through court's order. Either party can go to the court and make a request for restructuring, and the court, if issues the order for restructuring, the restructuring takes place. Now this is so far as the meaning of restructuring is concerned. Both the parties get the benefit of this. The lender will continue with the loan. So naturally, he has to be liberal. Many times he has to forgo some amount of loan. Many times he has to give some concessions in the rate of interest. Many times he will have to give some concession in the mortgage and so on. So many times he may be a loser to a limited extent. The borrower in restructuring is always gaining because he may get some concession in all these terms and conditions. This is regarding the loan restructuring for an individual or for a firm. Corporates also borrow. They also take loans, and that loan may be from banks or non-banking financial institutions. At the same time, they may also borrow by issuing bonds and debentures. So these bonds and debentures, if the company makes a default in payment or repayment of bonds and debentures, either interest payment or repayment, in that case, this company may also negotiate with bondholders or debenture holders and restructure this type of loan also. In case of governments also, my friends, well, they also borrow. That borrowing by government is called as sovereign debt. So they borrow within the country as well as from outside the country. Many times the government is also not able to repay the loan or fulfill the commitment. It may be because of three reasons. Number one, there may be a revenue mismatch. That is, the income of the government is not sufficient to pay the interest or repay the loan. Secondly, there may be maturity mismatch. On the date of maturity of the loan, government is not having sufficient liquidity, and therefore on the date of maturity, government cannot pay the loan. Thirdly, there may be currency mismatch. The loans which are taken in foreign currencies may not be repaid because the exchange rate of the borrowing country has gone down so much that it becomes difficult for the government to repay the loan which is taken when the exchange rate was very high. These are some of the reasons why government cannot repay the loan, and we know the cases of Greece, Iceland, Ireland. These are the countries who have defaulted. In that case also, there can be restructuring of loan. Now, if we see the meaning of it, I think one has to take care of certain situations before restructuring. One, many times the borrower willfully default. They are able to repay, but they are not willing to repay. In such cases, the lender has to be cautious while restructuring. And secondly, many times the officers or the disbursing agents of the lenders and the borrower, they may have some coalition. With mutual understanding, they will show that borrower is not able to repay, and they, for mutual benefits, may compel the lender to have debt restructuring. If this is avoided, I think debt restructuring is a good solution rather than closing down the business or going to the court of law. Well, debt restructuring is helpful, is useful to both lender and borrower. Regarding debt restructuring, I think I have tried to put before you some details. Hope you are happy with this presentation. Thank you very much. Bye.